the opportunity to tell a specific story and use that as a chance to make it very different from Forbidden Journey. But as you point out, it was a tricky piece of business to find a way to do that that would be authentic. So we studied it pretty hard and figured out there was a slice in time by which we would be enabled to be in the Gringotts Bank at the moment Harry, Ron, and Hermione were breaking in to steal the Horcrux. And we found an opportunity to place ourselves in that action. And it took a lot of thought, it took a lot of consideration to find a way to allow us to be in that moment of the movie. But Gringotts, you know, as you know from the films and books, was a ride waiting to happen, and the chance to bring it alive was an opportunity we just didn't want to miss.
When we laid out Hogsmeade and began all that process, we never sort of realized the crowds. And so we needed to be true to the stories, which was to keep things tight and close, but we also needed to have the space. And I think we've achieved pretty well this feeling of kind of a very tight and closed-in urban environment, but yet still have the space for our guests.
Let's see, the other thing we learned is that the fans really loved all the details we put into Hogsmeade and Hogwarts and the level of storytelling, and we wanted to take that and raise the bar one more time, and that's what we've done here. I mean, we know what you guys love, what the fans love, and when you come down to Diagon Alley, you can tell it's just a whole different level, a whole different scale. And that was one of the biggest things we learned is you know, you guys want more. The fans want to experience a lot more of those places and those magical moments. Well, we've shared a lot of great moments in Hogsmeade and Hogwarts for the past few years with the cast. When they come over and visit us, which is quite often, it's real nice that way. And we always take their feedback, just like we take the feedback of our guests. And we applied that to what you see here today. And we put it into our stories, we put it into our creation, and it's ongoing. I got feedback yesterday from Bonnie, right, and she had a great idea for the next ride. So, yes.
But just one other thing, when you think of the cast as the bigger picture of people involved, you know, having a guy like Stuart Craig involved again as our chief production designer on the entire endeavor was really critical, and David Heyman on the film side of it. So really bringing the entire cast of the Harry Potter film franchise back together in a way to help us make this as real and authentic as possible was really important and a really active part of the process.
It is too soon to ask, but I've heard it said there are more tales to tell. Are you thinking about those tales right now as we open up Diagon Alley? Or are you going to take a moment just to breathe and rest the laurels and appreciate things? Just to savor the moment, if you will.
Well, I think we're definitely savoring the moment. You know, this is an extraordinary point in time to see Diagon Alley come to life and to be able to connect the dots between Hogsmeade and Diagon, as Dale mentioned, with the Hogwarts Express, and put the two parks together. You know, two parks, one seamless story is a moment you know, that's bigger than life. We'll be focused on this for a while.
I think Diagon Alley is utterly beautiful. It really is. We've had a chance, coming from the film team, where we only ever built Diagon Alley maybe 20 feet high. We've had a chance here to build it for real. Everything that's there, the roofs, the chimneys, inside the rooms. It's a real breathing city, old magical London. And to work with the guys here and create this world, even the room you're in right now, this scale is so magnificent. And to tell all these stories and layers of the stories has been a real joy. So that, for me, is a real positive feeling for this whole project.
And I think for the filmmakers, we clearly got the feeling, and you know, that this was a dream come true for them, because when they get to design sets for the films, you know, they're limited to what the camera is going to see, and often there's no ceilings, and you walk into Diagon Alley on the set, and you can see the ceiling with all the lights, the black ceiling, and that was one of the comments yesterday. When the cast came through, they said, "Wow, there's a sky. There's no rooms on the building," and it's just great because it's as real as you can make it.
It's an art director's dream. This project, it really is.
So we also get the opportunity to expand. We actually get to, you know, a movie set is only so big, and we get to actually take you around the corner to see what's there, to discover something else. And I think that's that's an amazing thing for us to do and for you guys to experience.
Well, it allowed us to bring some of the bits that were in the books that you never saw in the films. A lot of details that really you have to read the stories to know about.
And even new places like Horizontally, that never existed before. So you've created a new street in London. It's all yours. It's quite special.
There, when I process this long, it's fascinating to see the moments of brilliance that happen amongst the collaborative team. And there are so many of them that stand out, but there are a few that, for me, that jump out in particular. The idea of linking the two parts of the train was just a groundbreaking thought. When we were thinking about how to make Gringotts different from Forbidden Journey, and the idea to bring Bellatrix and Voldemort into that scene and come face to face with them to make this a little bit more about that drama was, a stroke of brilliance. And when Dale and Stuart discussed putting a dragon on the top of the Gringotts Bank, and we all were in London and looked at the model and we said, we have to do this and it has to breathe fire. Those are just, highlights of sparks and fireworks that go off over the course of a project like this that are really memorable.
Yeah, I think the dragon was the easiest yes in this project.
It was one of the most complex yeses, but the easiest one to say, we have to figure out a way to do this.
Well, J.K. Rowling gave us these amazing stories to start with, and the depth of storytelling that you can't find anywhere else, really. I mean, this is just an incredible phenomenon. And working with her is incredible. I mean, having that collaboration, when we brought the Gringotts ride to life, when we were doing the actual concepting for it, the whole thing for us was, as Mark brought up, was to place us into that one of the most powerful moments in Harry Potter's life, in the seventh book, retrieving the Horcrux from Gringotts. And but this time we're looking at it from a whole different point of view. We're placing you, the guest, in that same moment, but you're seeing it from a different eye, from a different point of view. And certain things happen that may not have been described in the book. So collaborating with J.K. Rowling and her vision allowed us to create that experience. And that's the only way we could have done it. With J.K. Rowling and with Stuart Craig and Alan, being so familiar with that world, having created the visuals, having created the stories, that collaboration allowed us to do this kind of rich experience, this really incredible story-driven ride.
Having Helena Bonham Carter and Ray Fiennes as part of this movie and live film was really extraordinary. I mean, they're just extraordinary acting talents, and having them on the set, Terry directed them in Leavesden, and seeing them in character and in costume and on the set and sitting next to him like this in a chair and watching them bring these characters to life is really just a tremendous experience to see that talent go from sitting there talking to somebody and all of a sudden explode into a character is why they're great actors and why the people associated with this franchise are such great talents. Because you really learn to appreciate the genius you're surrounded by when you're surrounded by the likes of J.K. Rowling and actors like that, and Stuart Craig. I know it might be a little bit off point of your question, but I think it goes to the bigger point of the participation of people in the process and what they bring to it. And it's just extraordinary.
The cast really enjoyed being back together and working on this incredible new adventure. For them, I mean, they spent so many years playing those roles. I mean, Ray Fiennes, he loves to be Voldemort. He was so into it. The second he shows up on the set, before he's even in front of the camera, he's Voldemort. And Bellatrix, the two of them being together again was fantastic. I mean, it brings that quality of experience, that authenticity that we really strive for.
I think there are many moments for British guests. The place has been very authentically designed to represent a palette of British architecture and history. So you're in a medieval building right now, which is, say, 1,000 years old. You have the Victorian streets, you have the Victorian market, which is very typical of London. So I think British people, especially Londoners, will really warm to this place. They'll really recognise the train trestle, the train bridge, the sound of the train overhead, all the layers, because in our world back there, it's very much a layered architecture where buildings are taken down very individually, are retained if possible. So we all live in much older structures, and there's a real romance to that older structure. And we try to enhance that. Here, Stuart drove a design logic where it's almost an enhanced reality, where the buildings lean a little bit more, the colours are a little bit stronger, but it gives that sense of magic. I think people will feel very comfortable here.
You know, and somebody asked earlier about what we learned through the process of Hogsmeade to now. And one of the things we did learn, and Terry touched on it before, was that people enjoy the discovery and exploration part of this experience as much as they enjoy any particular ride or individual things. It's kind of the sum of the parts experience. And so we really focused on that. When you look at the wardrobe and you look at the interactions with the characters that inhabit these places, and we focused a lot of time on trying to make that a seamless, immersive part of the whole journey through Diagon Alley. And I think you'll continue to see that as you get to experience more and more of this place.
Yeah, to your point, the wardrobe is really expanded from what we've done back at Hogsmeade. We had an incredible wardrobe to start with, but I think we have a lot more here. I know for a fact we have a lot more. And the food, you know, all the different products you can find in the shops, which are true to the fiction. Everything's at a different scale, different level, and it's all from what we've learned in the past and what we know our fans are expecting.
One thing I can see when you're in the shops is the merchandise and the props seamlessly meld together, and the whole thing feels so authentic that you're almost going to go, can I buy this? Wow, it's so amazing. And the team out there so love this job. They all want to learn more. They're creating their own stories. They're researching the books, and it's a real passion for this world.